And given the region bounded by y equals 4 minus x squared, which is probably that guy? Maybe. And y equals negative x plus 2, which is okay, which is that. Find the volume generated by revolving the region about the line x equals 4. Okay, so we have x equals 4 here. This is negative x plus 2. And this seems to be the 4 minus x squared parabola. And so let's find the intersection points. So we want to find out where these equal. So we could say 4 minus x squared equals negative x plus 2. So we should get two values for this. One value there and one value there. So this is saying where the y values of the two lines or equations are equal. So that is really sideways. I can do better. Maybe move it over here. Okay. So we have the two equations, set them equal to each other. We'll change this to x squared minus x minus 2. So what I did was I moved the x squared over here, moved the 4 over there. That 4 turned the positive 2 into a negative 2, and this will equal 0. This is now a quadratic. And we can do, what is it, x plus 2, no, x minus 2, no. So we need two numbers that when we multiply them together, we get negative 2. So one has to be positive, one has to be negative. But when we add them together, we get negative 1. So I think it's x minus 2, x plus 1. So we'll check this out real quick. This is solved by inspection, which is the fancy term for guess and check. I had a feeling that this was going to be the right answer. I know, it's terrible. Once I realized that in math, that inspection, solving by inspection, is just the fancy way of saying guess and check. It's like, Or when a professor says, or a teacher says, well, that's beyond the scope of this course. That means they don't know. Okay, so we have x squared minus 2x plus x minus 2. This becomes negative x. Yes, check. True. And so the points are purple. That's not actually the point. So x equals 2 or x equals negative 1. So this will be negative 1. This will be 2. And so what we're going to do then is we're going to make a shape. It looks kind of like this. I know that's a terrible shape. And we're looking for this volume right here when the shape is revolved. Okay. So now that we know things, let's see here. This is going to be, we know this is negative 1. We know this is 2. We know this is 4. And so we're going to do the shell method. So the shell method is making concentric shells. This is a lot of work for not actually having really started the problem yet. Lots of setup. Okay, so the shell method, the idea is we have a 2 pi r, that's the base of the shell, times the height of the shell, and then we'll multiply that by a, since we're going outward, it'll be delta x. I guess by outward, I really should have meant horizontal. Okay. So look at what r is. So r will be from 4 to x. So x is going to go from negative 1 to 4. So r will be from whatever value x is. So x will start here and go this way. Will be the value 4 minus x. So when 4 is negative 1, it'll be 4 minus negative 1, which will be 5, which makes sense. The radius here will be 5. But when x is 2, it will be 4 minus 2, which would be 2. So this radius here would be 2, which seems reasonable. Okay, I'm good with this. R equals 4 minus x. H then will be, so this is 4 minus x squared. So h would be equal 4 minus x squared minus the line, which would be minus x plus 2. So minus x plus 2. We'll distribute the negative sign. And this gives us negative x squared plus x plus 2. Okay? That would be the height of, so we're looking for the height right here. So it would be this height right there. And then delta x will be this value right there. Ooh, that's a lot of values. Okay, so to recap real quick what we did. So this is our generic formula that we use for the shell method. It is the circumference of the shell times the height of the shell times the thickness of the shell. We found that the radius is going to go from biggest at -1 to the smallest at, this is not negative, this is not to 4, that's to 2, to a value of 2 when it's at 2, because 4 minus 2. So our equation for that would be 4 minus x. We then had to find the height of our shell, which is this height here. So the initial height at -1 should be 0. And we know that if we plug in -1 here, we get 0. And also the height will be 0 at 2, which we already figured out earlier. So now we're going to plug everything in and solve. Hopefully it'll just be a lot of power rule and not too bad. So we got -1 to 2, 2 pi r, which is 4 minus x. And we'll multiply this by, oh no, there's going to be a lot of multiplying. Loci. Okay. dx, 2 pi, -1, 2. All right, so this will be -4x squared plus 4x plus 8 plus, now we'll do the negative x. So this will be x cubed minus x squared minus 2x dx. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Then we'll combine terms. So we still have our 2 pi here. We still have our integral. And we'll put x cubed first because it's biggest. So we have -4x squared. Probably should change colors. So x cubed is gone. So we'll have -5x squared. Now for the x's, we have 4x and 2x. We have plus 2x. And then we have plus 8 dx. Okay, not too bad. Not too bad. 2 pi. And then we'll have x to the 4th over 4 minus 5x cubed over 3 plus 2x squared over 2. 2's will cancel. Plus 8x. And we'll evaluate this from -1 to 2. Okay, we can do this. Change colors. Still have a 2 pi. We have a 2 to the 4th, which is the same as 2 squared times 2 squared, which is 16. 16 divided by 4 is 4. Minus 5 times 8 over 3 plus 4 plus 8. Okay? And that will be minus, now we got to plug in -1 here. -1 to the 4th is going to be 1, specifically positive 1. But -1 to the 3rd will be -1. So we have plus 5/3. Yes. Yes. Plus 1 minus 8. Okay? Now we're going to have to do a lot of simplifying. Darn you simplifications. Okay. 2 pi. So we have 4 plus 4 plus 8 is 16 minus 40/3. Okay? That's doable. Minus, okay, now here we have negative, so we'll distribute this. So we have positive 7. So we'll do a plus. Plus 7 minus 1/4 minus 5/3. So that's going to have to go to 12ths as a common denominator. So we have 2 pi. This will be 48 minus 40, because 16 times 3 is 48 over 3. Not too bad, we can do that. Plus, all right, so now we're going to have to go to twelfths here. So 7 times 12, so tedious. 14, whoop, 7 times 12 is 14. 14, carry the 1, 7 times 1 is 7, 84. Yeah, that seems reasonable. 84 over 12 minus, all right, now we're going to 12ths here, so it'll be 3 12ths minus, and then 20 12ths. So this becomes 84 minus 23. So this will be 8 thirds plus, 84 minus 23 is 161 plus 61 over 12. Convert this to 12s, multiply both sides by 4. So we have 12, 8 times 4 is 32. Have a 2 pi still. This is a lot more algebra than it is calculus. Okay. 2 pi, so we have 32 plus 61, we have 93 over 12. Man, this seems, okay. And so this would be 186 pi over 12. Both of those can probably be divided. Oh yeah, probably should have just 93 pi over 6. Now I don't know if 93, oh yeah, we can divide both sides by 3. Okay, so this would be 31 over 2 pi. Maybe I could have simplified at some point earlier. So that looks good. 31 I think is prime. Oh, looks like we messed up something somewhere. Okay. Okay. So 31 pi over 2. So looking back over my math, I think right here is where I made the mistake. Whoop. So 8 times 2 is 16, not 8. And so they come down here, and I was missing like a 32 pi over 2. Add that together, we get a 63 pi over 2. And therefore, the correct answer should be this one right there, 63 pi over 2. Long story short, looking back at what we did here, we were given a line and parabola. So we wanted to find out the region bounded, and then we wanted to revolve that region. This is a lot more complicated than you'd probably get for a multiple choice question, but this is the sort of thing you might get for a free response. And so what we did here, the idea was the shell method. So the shell method is circumference times height times thickness. We plug in each of the values we had. The radius was going to be x, because we're going to go from -1 to 2. That's the 2 points where the graphs intersect. And then the height would be the top graph minus the bottom one, which in this case was 4 minus x squared minus quantity -x plus 2, which we did right here. And then is along the x direction. We then, not FOIL, but the FOIL equivalent when you're using 3 terms, and do a bunch of algebra. Try not to make a mistake during the algebra. Do more algebra, and we finally get to an answer of 63 pi over 2, if done correctly. And then we take that, and that is the volume. So that's the idea. So this question, again, is probably about 25% calculus, 75% algebra, and the human performance traps are almost always in the algebra. The key here is to get it set up correctly the first time. Using the this one, use the shell method, probably the easiest. Might be able to do it using the disk method. Shell method's not too bad. So that's how I approach this problem. Much more difficult than you'd find for your average AP multiple choice question, but this is the kind of thing you'll see and you need to be familiar with. Appreciate you stopping by. Wish you best of luck, and see you next time.